boy Tone 2-0 Twizzle and the Hizzle Jizzle. Listen, let's talk about it. 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 What up, what up, what up? What up, all you nerds? Let's talk about it. All right, turn that off. Even though that is the jam, it's Jamitude. Let's talk about the homosexuals who are convinced that Pride Month is for them. It is not for you. I'm telling you now. For those of you who are openly practicing homosexuality and those of you who are not, you're coming into the understanding that Pride Month is not for you. It is not an agenda that is helping you. It is not about having rights. It is not about equality. It's not about the way people look at you and accept you. It's not about acceptance. It's not about that. I'll tell you why, because you already have those things. You're openly accepted. You have equality. You can't get fired because of your sexual preference. Although you can not get hired because of your sexual preference. What it is a hijacking. It's kind of like the Me Too movement and the Black Lives Matter movement. All of these movements that are out there have all been hijacked. The Me Too movement was hijacked by women. It was started by men. Black Lives Matter was started by Black women, and they absconded with all of this money and did absolutely nothing for Black people whatsoever. There were some places that they showed up, especially where there was a police shooting, but they didn't show up in the hood when there was Black on Black crime. They don't care. It was all about the money. The gay pride, and I'm not going to get too deep into this because this is not really my forte. However, when it comes to government, I just want you, for one, I am not of the lifestyle. I do not practice it, and I do not condone it. However, I do not go after people for it, but I simply tell them, look, Jesus loves you, and you better get to know the Lord before you openly practice anything. You better know what the scriptures read, because the word is real, and God is going to have the last say. He's the last judge that you will see. So one appointed for a man to live, to die, and then be judged. You will be judged for every mumbling word that you say. Let's not get it twisted. You will be judged according to the scriptures. So let's not, this is not me, coming out against you and blah, blah, blah. This is me simply telling you that you're going to have to face the Lord, and it's just you by yourself. It's not going to be a bunch of your screaming friends. It's not going to be a protest at Heaven's gates. It's going to be none of that. It's going to be you and the Lord and his holy angels. And if God doesn't like what, he sees or what he hears, you're going to have to deal with his holy angels. And let me tell you, that is a one-sided fight. It is not going to be good. And everybody has this fear, not just people who are practicing certain sexual orientations. Everyone. Okay? This is everyone. All right? So, but like I said, when I look at government and how they're involved in things. I'm looking at the government when it comes to gay pride. And I remember when it was just riding down the street on your motorcycles and people were saying, hey, we're here, we're queer, get used to it. Stop beating us up, because, people who were queer used to get beat up. Stop beating us up. Stop firing us because, we're men who have sex with men or we're women who prefer women. Stop all that. All that has stopped. You got what you wanted. You got your parade. You got what you asked for. You can't go around beating up homosexuals, male or females, and they could fight. So let's just not act like because somebody's gay they can't fight, because you're going to find out that that is nowhere near the truth. They can fight because they're used to it. They have to. However, you got what you wanted. President Obama even went into Africa. I mean, they're in Africa right now trying to convince the African people that homosexuals over there should have rights. And the African people are like, we're going to put them to death. And there are homosexual communities in these countries, but if they openly practice and they are sick, they have AIDS and, HIV, and they spread the disease, they will be executed. There's just no doubt about that. It's going to happen, and it's happening. So let's get that understanding. It's not about you being gay. It's about you spreading the sickness. And they believe in, nature. So they believe a man is a man is a man, a woman is a woman is a woman, a man and a woman should be together. So they think that, what we're doing is sick. The Middle East believe the same thing, although the government has gone over to some of these countries and tried to sanction them. If you don't do this, we're going to cut off your visa. This is the way they control most people. They also start diseases and they won't send you any help. So they'll cut off your humanitarian aid to stop these diseases. So they do this. That's the way the government controls other people. However, when it comes to pride in this country, it has been hijacked. It has been taken over. Homosexuality was never about going after the children. It was never about that. It was never about barging into our schools. It was never about taking out particular books. Now they're taking books out of the library, completely throwing them away. Now you go to, if you want to watch something on Netflix, it's covered with homosexual, ality and everything. So you wanted inclusion, you have inclusion. Now, of course, you got the Dylan Mulvaney and that whole debacle where he's getting paid millions of dollars, and it's clearly a man. We know it's a man that's acting like a woman, that cries and wears a dress, and nonetheless, so you have that, and that's what I'm talking about. The whole fight for gay rights, the fight for gay inclusion, the fight to be openly gay. Openly gay actually came from you claiming you're a homosexual and no harm coming to you. That's what coming out was about. That's why people feared saying this around their family, because they were going to get disowned. They feared coming out because their people that knew them were going to beat them up. You can't go to your job. You're going to get, you're going to beat up at your job. You're going to get beat up at school. Some people were even killed for being homosexual. Coming out, now it's completely different. Now it's being forced upon people. And this is where it's being hijacked. Homosexuality is being forced. It's being forced. It's at the White House parties, dancing with the president. People are out there half naked, tits out, trans men, trans women everywhere. They have totally taken over America. And they're forcing you to go along with their idea. And if you don't, there's going to be repercussions, and that's a big problem. Because you don't see straight people saying, you're going to go along with this program or we're going to hurt you. You don't see straight people going after, if somebody's a homosexual, and they're open homosexual, you don't see straight people going after them and going after their jobs, going after their families. It's been totally absconded. It's been totally traversed by the government. And there's a whole nother agenda going on, and it's nefarious. There's a lot of missing people. There's a lot of missing children. And they're putting it all on your shoulders. And you're letting it happen because you think that you're getting more rights. You think that you're getting further. You're not. You're not. You're not. They're doing this all under the guise of gay rights. And I'm telling you, they're putting it all on your shoulders. And when this whole thing finally becomes 360, they're going to look at you. They're going to say, well, you're gay. You marched. You have a gay flag. You have a partner. You filed for marriage, gay marriage. You wanted our children to be taught by cross-dressers. You did this. You're part of them. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be the theys and the them. You're going to be a part of them. Because you're only going to go after so many kids. There's only going to be so many children that are missing before this thing comes to a head. Before this thing comes to a brutal conclusion. That's what it's coming to. Because the police are stopping people from, when you guys gather, you'll find preachers who are standing there and speaking the word, so the police are saying, to hell with, your rights. They're arresting preachers. They're arresting people just reading the Bible. When I go out and do my thing, I don't go out and read the Bible and scream at people. I just hold a sign that says Jesus saves. That's it. And I don't go to where I know there's going to be large gatherings. I go where there's traffic. So if you stop, that's on you. I go where people are walking by. It's on you if you want to stop and talk. But I'm telling you, you people who are practicing homosexuality, you people who are, going after these kids and trying to convince these kids it's okay for a dad and a dad to be together and a mom to be together. You're part of them. And when this thing blows up, they're going to be looking at you. It doesn't care if you're a little bit gay or a whole lot of gay. If you're coming out and you're marching, it doesn't matter if you're straight, but you support gay. Read the scriptures. Those that do them, those that practice. You could be in support of something that is wrong in the eyes of God. And listen, you don't want to hear somebody talking about God. A lot of you, and what's really crazy is now you can't even call them, now you have preachers who are gay preachers, and they're trying to convince other people that God is binary. Help us understand. Do you see how far this has gone? And listen, the Romans have done the same thing like this. And what happened? That's when they started collapsing. We're still living in a Roman times. If you haven't, you can't tell. We still use their judicial system. We use their clocks. We still build our buildings like they do with the pillars. We're still living. Don't forget, only one part of the Roman Empire died. The other one kept going. Constantine's empire kept going. But let's just get this straight. Your whole agenda has been hijacked. And you even have gay people coming on to TikTok and other shorts, and they're saying, I no longer support gay pride month, because it's been hijacked. And here's the thing. They only gave you this month and all this other stuff that they're giving it to you just so they can hijack it, just so they can go after children. You've been fooled the whole time. They wanted to legally go and walk into these schools, and they wanted to go after these kids and tell these kids whatever they wanted. They even had parents who are bringing their kids to school, and their kids are not even 1 year old, and they're listening to a cross-dresser say it's okay for a guy and a guy to get together. You got books that are in the school talking about two males having sex and what comes out of their penis. And these are 8th graders, 6th graders. Listen to the setup. This is how they listen. Just how they got y'all. Roe v. Wade was just turned over. Roe v. Wade was just turned over, which means that if a woman has an abortion, there could be penalties for it, up to $10,000 and time in jail. Do you know why they overturned Roe v. Wade? Let's go back to 2019. Let's go back to when the counts of white people or European was about 345 million in the state of in the United States. It's nowhere else, just in the United States. Then COVID hit. You lost 6 million people in between 2019 and 2021. And your number is dropping. Not only that, your birth rate is only 2%. Excuse me, it's minus 2%. That's your birth rate. That's why they overturned Roe v. Wade, because you're not having enough children. They gave you same-sex marriage. And now look what they're trying to do. They're trying to take it away from you. You understand where the fight is. They're giving you stuff, and then they're taking it away from you, and then they're blaming you for it. You understand that? It's only a short amount of time before you become the enemy of the state. Before the police stop protecting your rights. The police will be coming after you. The military will turn on you. The military has already said, listen, we are not going to allow anybody to come in here and get, transgender surgery. We're not supporting it. It's not going to happen. And remember the don't ask, don't tell. So that whole thing where people wanted to overturn the don't ask, don't tell. I'm sorry, but it's still a thing in the military. It's still a thing. Even in football, it's still a thing. In sports, it's still a thing. Yes, there are men who like men, but still a thing. It's not looked on and yay, there's nah. Look at what happened to the one dude who was openly gay. How long did he last in football? Not at all. He got on a practicing team. That was it for him. I'm telling you, they're setting you people up. They're setting you up for the old rope-a-dope, where you think you're winning. And they're going to gas you out. And then Muhammad Ali is going to come in and hit you with the old one too. You guys are in trouble. And when we talk about transgender, look at what they're doing to you. They're mutilating you. They're mutilating your bodies, and they're telling you that you can be something you can't. You even got some people saying, hey, they can transfer a uterus into a man. They cannot. You're not going to have children. And the more you guys get into this abominable lifestyle, the more dangerous it's going to be for you. Until it's going to all burn in your face. And listen, when I talk about dreams of hell, those are all real. Hell is a real place, and I don't want you to go. I know I don't want to go. But I'm telling you now, the government has tricked you. And if I was you, I would not go to any church that has a homosexual anything in it. The choir, people in the choir singing, they're openly gay, get out of that church. The pastor's openly gay, get out of that church. You see what just happened to the one church where the pastor, was saying some crazy stuff? What happened? The very next day, it was lit on fire by lightning. It was an act of God. Same thing in, that one country where they were having a parade. God destroyed, a bunch of stuff with a flood. You're in trouble. If I was you, whoever your partner is, pray. You're a woman who has a female partner, just go to the Lord. You're a man who has a male partner, go to God. Say, you know what? It is true that we will leave this planet. We will die. If you're going to church, you believe in God. Pray about your situation. Say, Lord, help me out. Give me a sign. Do something. I need help here because I don't want to burn in the devil's hell. I've had these feelings all my life. I think that I'm a man in a woman's body, a woman in a man, so whatever. I love my partner, but, you're saying that it's not natural. I don't want to die and be confused. I don't want to die and burn in hell. I don't want to openly mock you. I don't want to do none of this. Yes, I do have feelings for this person. I love this person. But you have the final say on everything. And I know I need to love you more than anyone. So just help me out. It's a simple prayer. Hell, I'll pray with you if you need to. And you can open up your scriptures and you look at some of these scriptures. How I think it's the book of Romans where it talks about how a man should not dress like a woman and a woman shouldn't dress like a man. Deuteronomy, how a man and a man lying together is an abomination. And, and how, it talks about women who into their own affections, become affectionate with each other. You're seeing a lot of Black women are doing this. Well, you're seeing a lot of women, period, doing this, but you're seeing a lot of Black women on social media doing it. They think it's cute. They're kissing on each other and doing all kind of stuff. No, it's not. But that's because there's not enough men. It's not enough men. There's not enough men on the planet. This is a subject I talked about over and over and over again. You have a lot of women who are hard-headed and they think they're settling. It's just like, ladies, you have no idea what you're up against. Your beauty is only going to last so long. and then it's gonna all go away. You can pump yourself up and think, I'm 50, I'm beautiful. You probably are beautiful. However, you may not be desired at 50. Your desire, it slows down around 35. And I'm sure you got a fat ass and all this other stuff and huge tits and all this. It doesn't matter. Because if a man doesn't desire you, your ass and tits mean absolutely nothing. And I mean nothing. If that man does not stay, if that man does not commit to you, you mean nothing. Means nothing. I've seen beautiful women, single and miserable. You know why? Because they did not understand their role in this life. And now they can't find a man who wants to be with them and wants to take on their bad attitude, wants to take on their mental issues, wants to take on all the bodies that they collected, wants to take on their children, wants to take on their just pissy demeanor, just wake up pissy, go to bed pissy, and expects a man to just stay there and deal with it because you got a fat ass and big tits. Men do not do this. We will leave you. And we can be below average, but we know one thing that we really desire, and that's peace in our life. Something that can't be fabricated. We know what peace is. We know what silence is. And we love it. We love peace. We love silence. We can be as ugly. You can call us ugly. You can call us whatever you want to. But you cannot contend with peace. I don't care who you are. I don't care how young you are. I don't care what modeling company you work for. I don't care how much money you got. You cannot contend with peace. A man will seek it out. And he'll find it. And he'll stay there. And he'll leave you. So you have a lot of women who are, kissing on each other, rubbing on each other, and doing all kind of stuff with each other. And this is going on in a lot of different communities. Even communities where you're going to get your head cut off if people find this out. A lot of Middle Eastern communities where they don't put up with this. You're finding out women are turning to each other for affection. Why? Because there's not enough men. In India alone, 70 million women. In Russia, 10 million women by themselves. No man around. Young, beautiful, 21, 22, gorgeous, built like just beautiful. Cannot find a man. No man. No man. They're dying in senseless wars. Can't find a man. African women too can't find a man. There are very few. One country that there is many men as there are women. That's Nigeria. Most countries, women cannot find a man, and it doesn't matter how pretty or whatever they are. Women are delusional. And a lot of us men are speaking out against it because we're trying to save you from Father Time. Father Time will come for you. It will sneak right up on you. And it will tell you the truth. And when you're no longer desired, you're going to get angry. And it's nobody's fault but yourself. So now you have a lot of women on women. And listen, another thing about you women, the more you women promote homosexuality, the less men there'll be for you. And some of you women have already counted yourself out. You're like, I'm finished with men. Okay, fine. But you have daughters. You have nieces. There are younger versions of you running around, granddaughters. You're telling them to go ahead and forget about men, just love women and love yourself. You're telling them there's no chance for you to procreate and be married. There's no chance for you to have a husband. This is what you're promoting. You women who are saying, "Oh, to hell with men," and men ain't this and men ain't that. All of you have children. Your children see this. Your sons see this. And your sons are not your boyfriends or your husbands. Your daughters are not your friends. You're singing these ratchet TikTok songs with girls that are 8 years old, talking about eating a man's ass. You're gonna pay for that. She's gonna be on them streets in just a couple months. That spirit will get into her and she will seek out what she's hearing. You don't get it. Your enemy is not flesh and blood, it's the spirit. And if you have this in your house and your daughters are listening to this, it's only a short matter of time before they get false affections and they seek them out. And they will seek them out. Their emotions are going to be confused. These little girls will seek them out. Trust me, it will happen. Same thing with the little boys. You keep letting them listen to this terrible rap music. What's up? You keep letting your little boys listen to terrible rap music. They will pick up a pistol. What just happened recently? Little boy got shot and killed by the police. He had a pellet gun. Same thing happened with Tamir Rice. Just happened again. A 14-year-old boy got gunned down by the police because he had a weapon. The more you let your little boys listen to this terrible rap, the more likely they're going to go out and get shot and killed. The more you let your little girls listen to these terrible rapping women who ain't talking about nothing, the more your little girl is going to have a child underage, and she will never marry. And she'll be miserable just like you. She'll never marry. She'll never be able to marry. She'll never be able to attach to a man. Every man that comes along, she'll find a problem with him and she'll tell him no, even if he's a damn good man. And he does everything for her. He does everything he's supposed to. She will, in her heart, not be able to attach with him. Her pheromones will not be able to attach to him. She will always look at him as a problem. He's boring. And she will leave him. She will not marry. Your daughters will not marry. The more this ratchet music is in your house, the less your daughters will marry. And the beat will go on. Like I said, pride is hurting you people. The whole stigma of pride is hurting you, and the government is going to switch on you. Because the government knows that there is not enough Europeans being born. Another thing the government has done, and none of this is in your favor. The borders. They let all those people come into our country. They just let them walk right in. They just let them walk right in. And what has happened ever since? Donald Trump was president, 1 million of them came over here. When that was over, 4 million of them came in 1 year. And what has happened? Crime has shot through the roof. Now, do I think that they should come over here? Yeah, but I think they should, there is a way to do things. Do I think they should be in a war-torn, country and getting killed and all this other stuff? No. But you brought them over here, you sat them in our front yard, and then you gave them, rights over black people. They really say it's us anymore? What do you mean by that? Oh, they can't say it's us anymore. Exactly. Hell, I got robbed by one of them. Took my doggone muffler. Black people are listen, it's only a short amount of time before black people are no longer the minority. And let me say this, it's only a matter of time before white people are no longer the majority. By the year 2030, Hispanic people are supposed to be the majority. And they're coming over here with bad attitudes. And even people in the government are like, why don't we load up and go and stop all these criminals? They won't do it. You got government officials asking other government officials, why don't we do this? At the highest level. Why can't we get our military and stop all of this foolishness? You got people in California who are coming up dead. You got some serious stuff going on in California. We don't even want to talk about Canada going into New York. But I'm telling you, people, all of you people who are openly practicing homosexuality and parading in the streets, you're going to get sucker punched. The government has set you up. They're going to blame a lot on you because you're a part of this movement. Not only that, you have the people who are not part of this movement. Listen, you got people who are saying, yeah, it's okay. You should love who you want. Love who you want. And then you got people who are saying, absolutely not. There's a way to do things. How are you going to procreate if you love who you want? How are you going to have more children? How's that going to happen? Let's take the worst case scenario. Because you're foolish if you think Dr. Fauci is finished. You think there's not going to be another COVID, you're out of your damn mind. Let's take worst case scenario. Let's say another COVID comes along. You know what? I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question. 1999, June. And they've been hijacking it ever since. They've been riding on the backs of that ever since. All this stuff going on with the schools. Listen, it's only a matter of time before the parents who are not with this nonsense. Let's look at Uvalde. How they let that kid go in there and shoot up those children. It was no accident. How'd that kid get all those weapons? It's no accident. We know the kid that went and shot all those black people, we know that wasn't an accident. That was set up by the oil company because they wanted that guard dead because he created a way to, have an engine go 100 miles on water. And now they got a car that can actually do that. Because now I believe setting that up on Juneteenth on the same month is 100%. 100%. You want to see a lot of police? Wait until Juneteenth. Police are everywhere on Juneteenth. And they're looking for something to happen. That's why I don't go no more. Because the last time I went, there was a bunch of cops there, and they were looking for something to happen. And when something broke out, they jumped on this kid and pretty much beat him up. Nah, cops are hyper aggressive when it comes to us. They're looking to put us in jail. They take you down extra brutal. They beat on you while you're down. They kick you in the face. They don't do this to other people. Absolutely not. I do not go to Juneteenth. I don't go to most places where black people gather. And I didn't mind Juneteenth. I like to see a lot of new acts, new dancers, new singers. I like to see performers. Heck, I was a performer. So, I didn't mind it at all. It just got bad. But I just wanted to talk about Pride Month because they're holding, they're dangling an apple in front of your face. And they're going to come after every single one of you. You know what it's going to look like? Auschwitz. Listen, you think that the government is not watching you. The government knows everything that you do. Every time you get an update on your Apple phone, it's not to make your life better. It's to make them watching you easier. That's what it is. And the stuff that they give you on your phone, they're already miles ahead of you. Everything that you get where you think it's new technology, they've already had it. You've already had it. I've had stuff taken from my computer. Bunch of files. Woke up one day, went to look for something that was all gone. So I called Apple. They talked to me for a few minutes and hung up on me. I called them back a couple times, different days. Once I got to a certain, into it a certain bit, they hung up the phone. Disconnected. Because they work for the government. I remember we used to ask Siri, do you work for the government? Siri wouldn't say anything. Now, if you ask Siri, do you work for the government? Siri will say, no, I don't. Why? Because they saw the videos. They saw the videos. Hello, Siri. That's nonsense. Hello, Siri.
Hello.
Do you work for the government?
Nope.
That's a lie. Because I've done a video asking Siri, does it work for the government when Siri had a female voice? Siri listens to everything you say and they record it and send it back to whoever's on the listening end. Everything. You don't believe me? Look at the video where the woman had Amazon all in house. It was controlling her heat and everything. And then one day she got a phone call. It sounded like a damn lie, didn't it? If somebody asks you a question like that, you go, nope. you know you're lying. Don't it sound like a little kid that just got in the cookie jar, got cookies all over their face, standing right next to the cookie jar, cookies all over the damn place, ain't nobody else in the house but them, and you go, yo, did you get in the cookie jar? And the kid goes, nope. We know you lying. All you can do is laugh about it. Because you're like, okay, I'm not going to beat this kid's ass. I'm just going to clean up this mess and, let it, put the cookies somewhere else where the kid can't reach. It is what it is. If you think the government is not listening to you, you think the government's not watching you, you're out of your mind. They just make it easier and easier. Every time the iPhones come out, You get a new iPhone this, a new iPhone that. Update this, update that. More pixelation this, face recognition. Come on with the face recognition. Now you can unlock your phone with your face recognition. How many James Bond's movies have we seen where that, was a thing? Get out of here. This lady had little Series robots all in her house. Then she got a phone call from a coworker. And the coworker said, take all of your Series, little communication joints, take them out of your house. And she said, why? She said, because they just sent me a conversation that you were having with your husband while you were in your bedroom. She was like, I don't believe you. He sent the file back to her. And then he started repeating what she was talking about. And this is a guy that lives like miles away from her. It automatically sent this information to him. Now, who knows what you could be talking about in your house? It's your house, supposed to be private. You could be talking about some very, very sensitive information like bank accounts. You could be talking about your money or, what you're going to do with, land or whatever. This is very sensitive information because if somebody gets a hold of it, then they can come and try to get it from you. You can get unwarranted attention, especially when it comes to your bank. Passwords to, to your, to whatever. Very sensitive information. We hide behind these passwords. Well, he could have got all of that. He could have known what's wrong with you if you're sick, or, if the wife is sick, and people want this information. Oh, the wife has this, or the husband has this, or the children. The children could be sick, as children do, but they could have something that, they could have for the rest of their life. People will use this information against you. It is real. Anyways, I just wanted to say that. I know not too many people watch this, but the people who do watch it, they'll understand. Pride Month is not for gay people. It is a blanket that's covering what's really underneath. It's the wolf that's underneath. And they have a whole agenda that gay people aren't really aware of. Gay people aren't going, Jack and Tom are together and they're married and they're living their life. They're not going, yeah, we're about to go out and, bomb a school. Jack and Tom ain't thinking about that like that. We're about to give this 18-year-older all these weapons so they can walk in and knock off 8th graders. Jack and Tom, we ain't got nothing to do with that. Yes, you do. Yeah, you do. You do now. They're going to be like, Jack and Tom, yeah. Something happened at the school. Yeah, we don't have any kids. It doesn't matter. We think you guys are, tied to it. How's that go? Well, the person who did it was a transgender. So what's that got to do with us? Yeah, you guys are part of that community. Like, we're not all, yeah, you are. You're all part of the, LGBTQI, right? Yeah, we're LGBT. Yeah, you're part of that community. So we need to ask you some questions. We have nothing to do. Yeah, you do. You're LGBTQI, right? Yeah, we are, but we don't even know what happened or who. It doesn't matter. you're part of that community. So where were you yesterday? We were at home doing what? I want a lawyer. Go ahead, get one. Then they're going to walk into your house and dare Jack and Tom to do something stupid. You can't just come in. Yes, we can. You don't think so? Look at what the Columbus police just did to that kid. What they did to that young man. They walked right in his house and shot him in 1 second and killed him. You know what their excuse was? They had a warrant. It was a misdemeanor warrant. They served it like at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. A misdemeanor warrant? Absolutely not. Blew him away. That's what they're going to do to you people. They're going to walk right into your house and dare you to say something. They're going to investigate you. And a transgender actually did just shoot up a school. You don't think that the government is looking at transgenders now? You don't think you think the government is just going to smear right over the fact that this was a trans person? They're going to start going into that person's psyche. Why did this person walk into a school and shoot up a bunch of people? Killed like 8 people. What is the psyche of a transgender? What do they go through? What is the capability of them, going off the rocker? Can this happen again? Should we start looking at all transgender people? Now we have a dossier on transgender people. You can't tell me that they don't, because we know they do. They have a dossier on every single one of you. And they're looking at your psychological profiles. They're going, what is the chance of Jack and Jim doing this? What is the chance of these 2 males who live together and are openly practicing? What are the chances of them going off? How about this? How about this? How about this? How about we make one of them go off? How about we make one of them do something like kill a bunch of men? Oh no. And then look, this is what we'll do. This is what we'll do. We want to create a narrative, so we'll have one of them kill a bunch of men over about, a couple of years' time. Then he'll do the most horrific things to them, eat them and stuff like that. And then when we catch him, because we already know what he's doing, we'll catch him and then we'll put him in jail. And then after he's in jail for a short time, we'll go ahead and kill him. But what that does is create fear of single males who are homosexuals. Jeffrey Dahmer. Now we can wage war on this demographic openly. We can wage war on this demographic because of what this one person did. But we'll wait. We won't have to do it right now. It's the same thing as going to another country. These people in the Middle East, they have WMDs. They have weapons of mass destruction. And they've been sanctioned by us. We told them that they can't have them. But we know that they have them, and we know that, they'll use their WMDs on America or America's allies. But here's what they didn't tell you. Saddam Hussein was set up by the CIA. He was in place by the CIA. They didn't tell you that Gaddafi was in place by the CIA. The CIA helped get him there. They didn't tell you that Osama bin Laden was trained by U.S. military soldiers. The Taliban was on our side. The CIA aided the Taliban, gave them weapons, and told them what to do, and taught them how to go and kill. They didn't tell you that Osama bin Laden's family are from New York. They didn't tell you that. They just said Osama bin Laden did this. They didn't tell you that Osama bin Laden's whole family is here. His whole family lives in the United States. You know what they are? They're architects. His whole family's here. They never killed Osama bin Laden. Oh, we killed him and then we put his ashes out in the water. That is a damn lie. I said, you never killed that man. You never killed his family. Why is it that when Osama bin Laden, when we're supposed to be going after him, they went and found all of his family and hid them? The United States did this. They knew where his family was, went and says, we gotta go. And the United States protected his whole family. Look it up if you think I'm lying. His whole family, they're architects. They didn't kill him in the mountains of Kabul by SEAL Team 6. Never happened. All a lie. But what did they do? They set him up so they can wage war and it could be justified by the American people. That's the same thing they're doing to American people. They've been doing it to Black people for the longest. They did it to the Black Panthers. All Black Panthers are bad, which wasn't true. They just wanted to protect their own neighborhood. They did the same thing, Black Wall Street. This guy, raped this woman. Wasn't true. Never did it. They went in, killed 3,000 people, have been misplaced. Some of them were hung. A whole war started up. Rosewood, the same thing. When they want to war against someone, they create a narrative. And it's a false narrative. And they can hang on to that narrative for 30 years. Homosexuals, you're going to be part of that war. And the government, they're going to turn on you. And I know they're going to turn on you because they're creating a false narrative about you. Jeffrey Dahmer was not a mistake. It was a caveat. You understand that? Transgenders, the same thing. They're mutilating you and they're making you believe that it's okay to be trans. It is not okay to be trans on any level. And they're giving you drugs. They're telling other people to accept you. But here's the problem with that. They're trying to make people accept you. They're trying to force it down people's throats. So instead of me seeing a trans, which I've seen one before, and going, okay, that's your life, they're going, no, you're going to accept my he, them, they, there was. You're going to call me this. Or I'm going to have you fired from your job. You even had one dude who was working for a donut shop, and they fired him. So he tried to, of course, sue them. And he tried to embarrass them on social media. And the manager went into his comments and said, we didn't fire you because you were trans. We fired you because every day you came in and gave us a lecture instead of doing your work. That's why you got fired. We didn't want to hear a moral lecture every time you come in to make donuts. So you got fired because you didn't do what you were hired to do, which is a damn good reason to fire you. And when you try to take it to court, you're going to be embarrassed. You're going to waste your money because they have evidence that you didn't do what you're supposed to do. But this is what happens when you have a false narrative. When they make you think that you're above something that you're not. And this is only a matter of time because when they're going to look at men who are dressing up as little girls, how long do you think that's going to fly? You got family men, 40 years old, who says, I never had the chance to be a 6-year-old girl. Now I'm a 6-year-old girl. Treat me as a 6-year-old girl. Who in their right mind is going to accept that on a whole? If a 40-year-old man came up to me and said, hey, I am now a 6-year-old girl, I would say, if you don't get away from me, you're going to be a dead 6-year-old girl. If you bring that into my atmosphere, into my close proximity, you're going to be minus a life. Get that trash away from me. You're a grown-ass man. You actually have kids and a wife waiting for you, but you left them to be a 6-year-old girl. You're going to get beat up. No, you have to accept me. No, I do not. This is America, Jack. I don't have to accept you. But see, they're trying to make us accept it. They're trying to make us delusional. This 40-year-old man is now a 6-year-old girl who's wandering around with, whatever dressed. No, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. And you shouldn't either. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. This woman is now a man. Let me tell you something. Y'all know who Larry Wills is? Larry Wills is a strong dude. So he got into arm wrestling recently. And he was kind of just playing around with it because, he thought he was stronger than most people until he found out that it was all about technique. And Larry lined up against a woman, and that woman beat him. She beat his ass in an arm wrestling competition. Larry Wills. You mad because you sad? I'm mad. I'm mad about what? Anyways, Larry Wills got beat by a woman. He said, I had to start taking it seriously. And they were like, why? He said, because a woman beat me. And they were like, what? They were like, yeah. She got up there and boom, and she beat me. He's like, no, I couldn't let that go. You know what I'm saying? So let's not get it twisted. There are some women who are ridiculously strong. And they're a credit to their species. We don't mind that. But we still know what you are. You're the pappy. We still know what you are. You're a woman. You have a womb. You can deliver, another life into this world, which is beautiful. Now, if you don't choose to do that, that's totally fine with us. This is why there are more of you than there are of us. You have that choice. That's your body, your choice on that matter. If you want to have children. Happy Father's Day. Oh, shoot, I didn't even know it was Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you, sir. But what I'm saying is Larry Wills got beat by a woman. So there are some very strong women who are definitely stronger than me. Well, I haven't seen any. Well, that's not true. There are women who can bench press 315. So, there's one or two of them out there who can bench press 315. So, yeah, there are some women who are stronger than. Yeah, my max is 335. I think there are some women who, matter of fact, I think I've seen a woman, a black woman, hit 3 something. I know I saw a black woman deadlift 640 pounds, just yank right off the ground. Yeah, Hardaway, she could beat you at deadlifting. Yeah, the woman went and she bench pressed 315 pounds, didn't she? There's a whole nother woman that came in and yanked 600 pounds right off the. Shoot, I'm strong, but that woman was stronger than me. Look, we're not saying that women aren't strong. We're saying on a whole, you're not stronger than us. And this whole delusion about men can have children. You know what's going to happen? For one, it's already happened. They've probably already tried to put a uterus in a man. And that man wants that, for one, you could put a uterus in a man. You know what's going to happen to that man? For one, he's going to bleed to death. For two, he doesn't have enough blood circulating through his body to hold a child. For three, his rib cage can't fit a child. Four, his sacrum, his his hips. I mean, those bones will just split if that child grows to full maturation. Four, there's nowhere that child's coming out. Even if you gave that child a C-section, it is lights out for that man because his rib cage, he has too many ribs. It's just not gonna. It will never reach full term. As a matter of fact, I don't think it will reach any term. I think if you try to put a wound in a man, there's how that. I mean, the contractions, the whole process of having a womb. How's that going to happen? Where's that going to go? What's gonna? I mean, there's so much that goes on with the woman pH balance. It'll just be a nightmare for that man, and he will die. He will definitely die. It's just, and they're already trying this. They're trying to convince these men who want to be women that it's highly possible. They're like, in 20 years we'll be able to. Nah, in 20 years you're gonna die. You're gonna have an infection. That kid will never see mitosis, meiosis, and you better hope it doesn't. You do not want that egg to get fertilized. Your fallopian tubes, your uterine walls, none of that's gonna happen. You don't have the protein. You don't have it. You don't have it. It's not gonna happen. You will die, and it will be a horrible death. And it's gonna be from the inside out. It's gonna be slow. That's not something you want to play with. That whole thing has been masterfully built by God. You see how many problems just a normal woman has? What's going to happen when your heart and lungs have to try to find more oxygen, more blood, more vitamin A, B, C, D, E in order to facilitate another body that's living inside of you? What's going to happen? Let me say this. There was a man in India who had something growing inside of his stomach. He didn't know what it was. He had no idea. Eventually, he started having severe stomach aches. All right, and the stomach started getting bigger. Right. So his whole body is blowing up, over, amount of time. He's having these stomach aches, and they're just like, they think it's a tumor. They go and look inside. It was a whole nother man, but it was just the head and teeth. What happened is it was his twin. And it was eating his way out of this man. That's why he started having severe stomach aches. Every time he ate, his twin ate. Yeah, there's only so much room in the male body that can facilitate something else. And then eventually it all goes bad. It all goes bad. Tone got some Coleman strength. Shoot. Wish I did have Coleman strength. Although I am getting stronger. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that subject because when they go after a group of people for something, there's always a narrative that they paint first. And it's a false narrative. It's a lie because they have a caveat. They have one or two people who've done something and they're like, all of you people. Then you become you people. C.T. Fletcher was struggling in the beginning when he had his heart transplant because his heart was from an Asian baby girl. Yeah. So I didn't know about that, but if you just take the dynamics of what had happened to C.T. Fletcher. For one, C.T. Fletcher used to use steroids. For those of you who don't know who he is, he's a bodybuilder. When he wasn't bodybuilding, he was a power lifter, and a very aggressive power lifter. I mean, he can get up under 405 and it was nothing to him. He's very, very strong person. But he was using steroids in order to get where he needed to be. And the steroids did a lot of things against him. The steroids, of course, made him ridiculously strong. They made his recovery time excellent. But what they also did was they made his skin hard. Yeah, he said whenever they would go to, put a needle in him, the needle would break. So there were some abnormalities that were happening to him. And with anybody who takes steroids, it has a different effect on you. It's not the same effect all the way around. This is why, you got a lot of bodybuilders who are dead, like Penna. Penna died from, an early death. And we just had another bodybuilder this year just died, in the hospital dead early. So you have to understand steroids do different things to you. And another thing that steroids do is it goes after your muscles. Your heart is a muscle. So it can enlarge your heart. And then you can have all kind of complications and then you're dead. So him having a heart transplant, I'm betting 10-1 that his heart was enlarged. You see what happened to Larry Wills? When he was taking those, he had to stop. You see what happened to him? His whole face changed. And his cranium started to get bigger. Larry Wills looked like he had, giantitis? That's when the pituitary gland is constantly being activated and it releases hormones to cause you to grow. So you have a lot of people who are very tall, but they can barely walk. That's because the pituitary gland is being stimulated by the skull, and it's being crushed, and it's releasing hormones for you to grow. So those people are not natural giants. They have giantitis or whatever it's called. So if you look at Shaquille O'Neal, he's 7 feet, but he's 7 feet jumping, running, and all that other stuff. You look at some of these other people who are 7 feet, 8 feet, they couldn't do all that. They can barely walk. Andre the Giant was a natural giant. He's 8 foot something, and he's wrestling and doing all this. He's a little slow at speech, but nonetheless, it wasn't because of his pituitary gland. So you have a lot of people who have that problem. So, but nonetheless, C.T. Fletcher, so accepting a little girl's heart, for one, the reason why he got that, a little girl's heart, is because of the blood matched. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to trying to put a baby in a male, you're just going to have a hard time. It's just so many variables that it's just not going to match up. But the little girl's blood had to match to his blood in order for him to accept it and be able to stay alive. So there's just a lot of things that go into that. I'm not a medical doctor. I do have a degree, but it's not in my degree is in health administration, but I've never studied the heart past some advanced classes in biology. So I am not that person at all. But nonetheless, I did have the pleasure of looking at some cadavers and when I was in college because biology interests me. But I just wanted to speak on that because the LGBTQIA, as a matter of fact, right? LGBTQIA, some people are just saying alphabet. They are going to come into some roadblocks. And one of the roadblocks is going to be the marriages that they think they're allowed to have. The marriages are going to I think they're already starting to take them away from them because, two people of the same sex cannot naturally have children, even though they're trying to make it so they can have children. And they're saying, just go ahead, adopt. Well, that's a whole different story. But nonetheless, a woman and a woman cannot naturally have children. And because you can't naturally have children, the government is going to look at how many babies are being born in the United States and how many of those, for one, how many babies are being conceived healthy? How many women are actually pregnant and reaching term? They're looking at every trimester. How many women, how many pregnancies have failed in every area? In this trimester, and why has it failed? The government knows all this information because you go to a hospital. It's all on a data bank. And what happens? A lot of you are covered by your insurance. Your insurance is regulated by who? The government. So the government knows everything about what's going on between you and your partner. They know about every woman that has a child and that child did not make it to term and why the child didn't make it to term. They know all of this information. Also, when you're looking at every child that is born, they're looking at where the child was born, what month the child was born, how the child was born, who were the doctors, the nurses. They have all of these informations and they're looking at if the child is sick or not, if the child is a preemie or not, how much the child weighs. All this information is vital to them, especially if the child is European. Why? Because the child that is born healthy, 8 pounds, whatever, to a mother and father, we already know statistically that child has a better chance of making it than a child just born in a single parent household. We know statistically that white child has a better chance of not only making it, but being successful with the mom and dad, and they could both be farmers. And that's not a slight against farmers. What I'm saying is you have successful farmers. They could be factory workers. Your kid can grow up to be a successful factory worker. These are all needed. Not every kid's going to grow up and be a rocket scientist, but rocket scientists are needed. You see what I'm saying? It goes all to the success of a country. So success in our eyes is, driving a Bentley. No, success is, can you grow up to be a contributing adult? You guys are contributing adults. If you go to work every day, you're contributing to society. But there are a lot of adults who do not contribute to society. What are the chances that the majority of those adults who are not contributing to society were born in a single parent household? The chances are very high. Very high. They have all kinds of statistics on why that person is not contributing. But nonetheless, the first major factor, is there a father in the house? Are they married? When the government looks at this and says, yes, there's a father around, but the father doesn't live in the house, that goes against the child. But if they say, yes, there's a father in the house, but they're not married, that goes against the child. Yes, the father is married to the mother, that goes for the child. Because the father is always there. He's always around. He's in the house every day. So the child sees the father and sees the mother and is getting directions from both of them. That child leaves the house and knows that it can come home to the security of mother and father. When the father isn't there, a child starts to act up because it needs that other part. They're also finding out that, when the child is being fathered and the mother isn't there, that the child is becoming more successful than when the mother is there. Why? Because the father is an authoritative figure and he's more of a protector than the mother is. Me not saying that the mother is not bad at being a mother, but you are a mother. Whether you have a Smith and Wesson or not, whether you yell, scream, and beat the child up or not, you are still a female. That child recognizes that. Eventually that boy grows up to be, 6'2", and you're all of 5'7". You can sell wolf tickets all you want to, but if that child decides to knock you into next week at the age of 14, then that's exactly what's going to happen. And we see it on TikTok and we see it on WorldStar when these little boys get grown. Heck, I know a little boy who grew up to be just a big kid, and once he got to like 12, he would no longer listen to his mother. And I was dating the mother. I remember one time he got smart with the mom, and I was right there, and I came in the house and I grabbed him and pinned him up against the wall. I was like, you better listen to your mother. But that wasn't my wife and it wasn't my child, so eventually I left. And I had seen her again, and she said, yeah, he don't listen to me. He's a big kid now. He's way taller than me. The mother was like 5'2". It's like, that little boy doesn't listen to me. He's huge. That's it. That's it. He's not going to listen to you. Now, if his dad is around, it's a good chance he's not bigger than his dad. Let him say something smart to the mother. His dad is all a 6'4", 320. Let him say something smart, and the mom say, really? All right, let me tell your father. It's a whole different story, because now you got to roll with the big boy. What you gonna do? You gonna get your ass whooped. And that's it, and that's all. So we're not saying that mothers are not bad mothers. We're saying that you are still a female. And that's how you're looked at. But the father is a more authoritative, a more stern figure. And he's feared. The father is more feared when it's, one-on-one. Now in the house, the mother is more authoritative. She gives out the spankings. The father, he really don't want to do that. But when it comes to protecting the house, the father protects the house. That's what I'm saying. So, yeah. Some water here. I don't know who's listening, but hello to everyone. Thanks for stopping by. Give me a like if you like. Just thought I'd jump on this subject. And one person came in here and said, you're mad because you're sad. I'm going to assume that person has something to do with the community. LGBTQI. I'm not mad at all. I am a lover of Jesus Christ. I'm a lover of the law. I'm a lover of the scriptures. I'm not sad at all. I feel sad for anyone who is doing something outside the Word of God, no matter what it is. Even when I catch myself doing something. Even when I catch myself doing something, I'm like, oh, I got to cut this out. Because this is outside of the will of God. I feel sorry for people who dismiss the Lord and act like he's not going to judge you when this is all over. I feel sorry for their delusion. I feel sorry for the people who are going up under the knife and thinking that they can be something that they're not. So I feel sorry for it. Or two people getting together knowing they can't have children and then try to have children. I feel sorry for you. You've been lied to. You've been lied to. They're cutting you up just to make a penis. Have you ever seen what they're doing to these women? These doctors? You ever seen the skin grafts? They'll take skin from their arm and it'll be from here to here down to here to here. They'll take this whole swath, take it right out. And when it doesn't work, for one, you'll have an ugly scar here. It's just horrific. When it doesn't work, they go somewhere else on your body and take skin. And they'll start with your leg. And they'll take this huge swath of skin and try to make it a penis. I feel sorry for that person. A lot of these people are finding it out the hard way, that this is a very unnatural thing to do, and it just doesn't work. One guy actually has a catheter. This female who wanted to be a man has a catheter sticking out of her body. She's got to live with that. They have to take these drugs for these men who are trying to be women. They have to take these drugs in order to keep whatever hole they put in you open. Or it closes up and then it gets infected. And then you can die from the infection. See, they don't tell you all this when they're running around downtown talking about pride this and pride that. I don't tell you that. They need to have a sign that shows a transgender operation from woman to man and from man to woman, and just hold it just right there and just let people see it and walk up and look at it. This is, and then put some very true statistics right up under it on what you're going to deal with. Then put the suicide rate right up under there, and put the death rate from any disease that you're going to catch because of this, because now you have an open wound there that you need to protect. Put down, all the pains and discomforts, and it's irreversible. So the government has decided, because the government knows this. So there are governments that, government arms that have decided, no, we're not doing this. And this is different states. So one state, which is right next to me, Kentucky, has decided to hell with that. We're not subjecting any child to that. We're not doing it. So they made up a whole a law, and they brought the law in to be voted on, they snuck it in. And they're like, we're going to try to get this law passed where no child can go through these operations. If you're under the age of 18, then you cannot be subjected to this. And of course, people are coming out like, this is madness. If a boy feels like they're a girl and they want to get, the operation, they should be able to do it. Kentucky said, absolutely not. Your parents will go to jail if we find out that this little boy is actually a girl and they went under gender reassignment surgery. Not only that, we will not facilitate any drugs to any child who thinks that they're of a different sex than what they are. You will not legally be able to get these drugs. We will not sign off on it. No hospital, no doctor's office, no nothing. You will not be allowed to obtain these drugs if you're going under gender reassignment, whatever. What's that going to do? It's going to create a black market. So gender reassignment surgery in the state of Kentucky is going to be forbidden if you're under the age of 18. So Dwayne Wade and his issue, his little boy will not be able to transition unto a little girl until that little boy is able to vote at the age of 18. And there was some, things going on the age of voting, so they're trying to raise that to 25. But nonetheless, Dwayne Wade, he lives in Florida, I think, right? He moved to Florida. He moved from California to Florida, so there's that. But nonetheless, if other states follow along, especially states like California, if a lot of states follow along on what Kentucky is doing, then there's going to be a serious, serious backlash. Right now, it just happened in Kentucky. And I forgot what law it is, but yeah, gender reassignment surgery will not be allowed, and or drugs will not be allowed to any child legally. Now, are they going to go into back alleys and do it? Absolutely. And when they do, some kids are going to die. Are they going to go to different states and do it? Absolutely, 100%. Are they going to go to different countries and do it? 100%. Mexico's right across the border. They'll do anything if you pay them in cash. However, if you come back into the state and your child goes to school and they find out that this child is having complications that are abnormal, this boy is missing his, genitalia, and now there is a, opening down there that's supposed to be a vaginal, insertion of, some type. They're going to look at the boy. They're going to look at the parents. They're going to say, "Where did you get this done?" And the parents are going to say, "I went to, Guatemala to do it." They're going to say, "Okay, fine. Where are you getting your medicine from? Because that child has to keep taking this medicine forever, or the child dies. Where are you getting that from?" That's when they're going to go to jail. You can't say I'm ordered from a doctor in Guatemala. No, if it comes into the state of Kentucky, you're not allowed to have any drugs for gender reassignments. None. All of those people have to take drugs to keep them at whatever it is that they're doing. So other states will follow. Yeah, you're going to have another thing they attacked is, this was interesting. The woman who spoke out against Leah Thomas, who won the NCAA in swimming. She said, well, she went before Congress. She said that Leah Thomas walked into the women's bathroom. He's 6'4", and he took all his clothes off, and he was butt-ass naked in front of us. All the women looked, and people started leaving and walked out and asked the, people who are out there, there's a man in here, but they were like, it's okay, we know about it. They were like, well, we're not comfortable with this. And they said, if you're not comfortable with seeing a penis, that you should get used to it. And she's like, why? He said, because all of the bathrooms have been made unisex. She said, we didn't know about this. He's like, yeah, they're all unisex. So she said, so now any man, any coach, any father, any man whatsoever can walk into the bathroom while we're getting changed, and that is absolutely correct. Any man can walk in there and look at your naked bodies, and there's no harm, no foul. For one, this is the NCAA. So let's get an understanding here. They did this because it's college. You're 18 and up. You're all adults. Now, high school, middle school, that's a totally different realm. But you're in college. You're a full-grown adult. You can smoke, drink, or, well, you can't drink, but, well, you can't drink until you're 21, but nonetheless, they do anyway. But, you can get married to a 50-year-old if you want to. You know what I mean? So your parents do not have to be involved within most of the things that you do. You're 18, you can go and vote, and you can travel the world. So you're gonna see plenty of penises. So they're like, yeah, the bathrooms are unisex. This is what they said at Penn State. This is Penn State we're talking about. This is D1. This is D1, NCAA, D1. All right? This is the creme de la creme. These are the people who compete in the Olympics. This is not some D4, D3 school in some backwoods of Mississippi. This is D1, the Nittany Lions, big dogs. I almost went to this school. Yeah, that's what they told this female. Get back in there, change your clothes. Don't look at it if you don't like it. But Leah Thomas, who's been going through transgender, yada, 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 whatever, can stand there with his penis out and, get ready to hit the showers and look at TNA all day long, and all of you better shut up about it. As a matter of fact, that same woman she tied with Leah Thomas in one of the events, even though Leah Thomas slowed down just to make it look digestible, but they tied and they gave the trophy to him. And she said, why are you giving the trophy to him? And the guy said, because he needs to take photos. All of that is going to come back and bite them in the ass. It's going to be like COVID. All these people who are like, you have to get this and you have to get that. All that's starting to come back and bite them in the ass now. All of the places that fired people because they didn't want to get it. That goes against, your rights. For one, you can't do that, but they did it anyway. They did it anyway. They blindly followed, and they did it anyway. Why? Because they would have been sanctioned. But now the Department of Justice is going after all those companies. Those companies are getting sued. It's costing them money. It's the same thing that's going to happen with this homosexuality stuff. It's going to reach a fever pitch, and then it's all going to roll back on them. And if I was that woman, I would sue the NCAA. I'd sue the school, and I'd sue the NCAA, and she's going to win. And any woman that's in that bathroom when Leah Thomas is in there, I would sue the NCAA and Penn State, and I'd win. But yeah, this is a thing. But now, see, like I said, it's going to come back. But now Leah Thomas, they've heard enough backlash. Now Leah Thomas is not allowed to compete against women. Of course, he's not in the NCAA anymore. He's not in college anymore. I think he's going to be a lawyer or something like that. But anyone coming up after them, if they didn't go through gender reassignment, whatever it is, at by the age of 12, then they can no longer compete with the women. And I just think that's nonsense. So they also went as far as high school, and they said, listen, high school, these two black boys were losing against other black kids. Well, just other runners, one of black kids. And they decided they wanted to be girls. So what happened? The girls who were, the best runners in their school are only running for third now. Well, one girl went home and cried to her father. He's like, what's wrong with you? These kids that were boys now claim that they're girls and they're running the 100 yards against us. I can't beat them. There's nothing I can do. So the father raises some stink about it. Well, he did a good job because other people raised some stink about it. And now the government is just like, you cannot. Now, this is state government. They're saying you cannot compete against these girls. So they took them right out of the picture. You either go compete with the boys and get better, but you can't compete with the girls. It's just unfair. It's an unfair advantage. You can't do it. These boys had a nerve to have wigs on too. Can somebody help me with that? They thought it would be more convincing. They thought it would be more convincing if they had wigs. These boys have wigs on. And they're running with the wigs. Full sprint. Blowing these girls away. They're like, nah, we're done with this. So you also had another kid who was in college. I think it was a D2 school. But this kid, him and another guy who decided, hey, we want to be women. I think one ran the mile. So it was time for NCAA. People were standing outside of the track. I love how aggressive track is now. People are standing outside of track with signs because they know this kid is coming to compete against their daughters. So they have signs talking about they don't approve of this kid, him and another kid. Those two kids did not show up. And of course, arguments started outside there, and the people are like, I think that's sick what you're doing, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's a boy running up against girls. I think that's, they should be able to run up. No, they should be able to run up against other trans boys. You don't have trans girls saying, hey, I want to compete with the boys. You have girls competing with the boys in wrestling, but they're girls. They're not trans girls. Nikki Hiltz runs the mile, is a female transing to a male. Guess who she runs against? Females. And she's not even she's fast, but she's not the fastest female. Do you think Nikki Hiltz is going to run against freaking Yard Nagoose? You know what that would look like? Nikki Hiltz racing Ingebrigtsen. It would look so bad. I mean, she would get lapped in the mile, in the 1500. She would get lapped. Nobody gets lapped in the 1500. She would get lapped by every man in the 1500. If Nikki Hiltz said, you know what, I'm transitioning to a man, I'm going to go run with the men. She would get lapped so bad, it wouldn't even be close. She gets beat by the women. And she's a damn good runner, but she's not the number one runner. She's ranked, but she's not even number 10. Let me see what her ranking is. I'm just saying this to make a point. Nikki Hiltz is ranked number 41 in the country. I think she's ranked number 41. She might be ranked number 41 in, oh shoot, she might even be dropped. She was running for Adidas. They might have dropped her. Hiltz. No, she's not ranked 41. Doesn't show what her ranking is. It doesn't show. Anyways, my point is, Nikki Hiltz is not the fastest runner. So women aren't transitioning into men and then going and participating in men's sports. Because even the strongest powerlifting female cannot hang with a man. Anyway. Yahoo! Get some music. You guys got any questions? Talk about whatever. I think everybody's gone. Peace to Tina Turner. We don't need another hero. We don't need another hero. Way home. Peace to Tina Turner. She did the good long one. The Thunderdome. So what do we do in our lives? All the children say. Peace to Tina Turner. We don't need them way home. Oh, yeah. Thunderdome. Thunderdome is such a good movie. Raggedy Man. Oh, Mel gets some Mel. Mel and whatnot. Mother freaking Mel. I like Mel. Not sure how much he likes black people, but Mel's all right. That's sad. Mel Gibson. Mel. Names a kid that Mel. What's that short for? What is Mel short for? Mel short for something, ain't it? What's Mel short for? Melvin? What is that short for? What's Mel short for? Crazy Crypto. How you doing? You all right? Who you dissing? What, you want me to sell you one? I don't know. Are you trying to buy one from me? Is that what it is? You drop a diss track. I sell them for $100. So you just tell me, do you know what, what I'm saying? Like what beat, what type of beat, what tempo you're looking for? Do you know any of that? Or you're just looking for any beat? I got thousands of them. Yeah, just let me know. Up to you. he didn't want one. I'll sell you one. I'll make them for free. I'll give them away for free. Come on now. Everybody's gone? All right, everybody's gone. Adios.